the old Master System, and not the subtitle of the Genesis. I mean like the Generation 3 late 80s Famicom rival Master System. The little guy did give us some Sega classics like Pro Wrestling and Phantasy Star, the subject of today. That series is a big MMO nowadays. And there were two other MMOs. And everyone says that Phantasy Star IV is the best, but all I have is the Phantasy Star Game Boy Advance collection, so I started from the beginning, the first game. Phantasy Star has been forgotten over the years, at least the classic series has. Nowadays, people are familiar with the Phantasy Star Online style of game that was one of the big heads of the hunting game genre that Monster Hunter popularized. In Japan, Phantasy Star was released pretty close to Final Fantasy in 1987. They were within a week or so of each other, or so I've heard. If this game is so old and the classic series has been largely forgotten, then why would I even play it today? It's almost 30 years old, it's pretty grindy, and there's no direction given. The dungeons are large, sprawling, and in some cases a little hard on the eyes. Corona Tower, I'm looking at you. Let's face it, Final Fantasy is the better game. But I like Phantasy Star better anyway. The party members are actual characters. Flat characters with no development or character arc, but characters nonetheless. And this was 1987 before we could really give stories comprehensive plots due to data constrictions. As I said before, this game is really grindy, especially in the beginning. Once you get going, though, you don't really need to stop and grind as much unless you're short on money, and sometimes, especially in the mid-game, you do need to go and grind for money. The battle system is simpler than Final Fantasy at least. Enemies attack in groups, just one enemy type at a time. Magic should be used sparingly, though, because MP tends to stay low. The presentation of Phantasy Star is nice. The music is good. It's not excellent, or bad, but just consistently good. The visuals are good too. I think the anime art style translates well to pixel art. Phantasy Star's art was done by Reiko Kodama, Takako Kawaguchi, and Naoto. The artist behind the original Final Fantasy games, Yoshitaka Amano, is a wonderful artist. Unlike Phantasy Star, however, I don't think his art style translates very well to pixel art. I personally think his art style fits better in higher resolutions. For example, I recommend comparing the older Final Fantasy games to their concept art. If you ask me, there's a bit of a disconnect, though don't get me wrong, they were still really good. I just think that the disconnect was a bit of a thing. I haven't played any of the other games in the series yet, aside from a little of Phantasy Star Online and PSO 2, but based on my experiences with this game, I'd like to see how the sequels live up and exceed.